Good afternoon, everybody. Just doing a quick deck profile, going over the deck I ran this weekend for PPG. Before I do that, a quick shout out to Anoop, or Puna Lives, if you know him. If you guys can see this awesome looking championship card, it's one of the few I sold back in 2019. Was happy to get it back. So thanks to him. Appreciate it. Now, for this event, I went, I believe there was, I can't remember how many rounds there were, but I was X and 2. It was an okay performance, nothing amazing, but top 17. I made a pretty big misplay in the final round, or the round before that, which cost me my top 8. It happens, but I'm not going to talk too much about the normal parts about the Brawly deck, because we've all seen Brawly decks. You know what they do. After I talk about them a little bit, I'll explain some of the choices I made that were relevant, that were different than what other people were running, and I think that is the bigger deal for this. So that being said, the stuff that mattered for me was, the normal chain. You run 4 and 7 of the swap mechanic. It's very good. It's very consistent. My build only runs 2 Planet Vampas. I've heard a few people be like, oh, I run 3. I'm a little bit more, loose with it. I don't mind just running 2. And then, 4 of the 3 drop, 4 of the 4 drop, wherever he's at on here, right here. I only run 3 of the 5 drop, and then one of the decisions I made, which I really liked, was I cut a 6 drop. I only want 2. When I'm on the draw, which hopefully will happen on game 2, I put in a 3rd copy, because that's the only time I want it to be, which you'll see it right here, indicated as the 2-1 split. And that's just the fact that, for me, this deck doesn't want to have Brawly, especially if you go first. You're not going to get to turn 4. And if you do, that's just very unfortunate. You'll see a lot of singletons that I tried out to see what I wanted to switch around. The cool part about this deck is it draws so much of its own life, and so many of its mechanics tutor. It just keeps it going. And because it keeps it going, I tried some different strategies, and they worked pretty well. And I'll discuss the parts I liked and didn't. As you saw, Piccolo Jr. is my unison of choice, in large part because people still play Black Mass Saiyan and just 1-drops in general that are pretty relevant in the game. So he does something when he comes into play. But then obviously, it's just an unbelievably easy to cast ultimate on turn 2 or turn 3, depending on when you can do it. So I really like that. My one game against a blue Son Goku was actually when I thought this card was safe, and I passed turn, and he went ham and just destroyed my Piccolo, and I lost that match because he also had the SCR. So, but if you can protect it, it does amazing things. You'll see a lot of singletons, like I said. The Brawly Crown of Retribution, man, I love this card. You saw me play it at last year's Invitational. It's a card I feel like you never will go away for relevance. Blues played a lot. The Jacks likes to keep their energy open. Green likes to keep their energy open. And red likes to keep their energy open sometimes for Topo. And now currently going to the next format, this card becomes even better against Mecha. I really like this. When you see 2 energy open, when you can sit back and be like, I'm just going to Brawly here. Obviously, you set yourself up for the potential Bergamo play in that situation, but as long as you know going into it, that's what you're setting up. These Brawlies are really good to have. So that's why there's 2 in the board, just to bring them in. I ran 1 Flight of the Grand Eagle. I could see this being a 2 of, and I would probably cut the Violent Rays from main, because I really don't like Violent Rays. I'd like to have 2 in my board for the Dark Brawly matchup and a few other decks. Like Gotenks and whatnot, but you don't really need it. Like, you're killing on 2 in my builds. I'm an aggressive player. I just want to kill you. I don't want us to go to 3. So different mentalities. You'll see here my super combos. I'm running 3 and 1. That's only because I don't have a Raditz and nobody in my locals had one. So I'll be picking up one at PPG this weekend. If I do play Brawly, I'll have 4 Raditz. The only thing cool about doing a 3-1 split is if you sideboard in your Mai's. Sometimes you can play for free a Mai, which is pretty relevant, just as a cute trick. So it's not completely a dead card, but definitely not the right one to use. It's not what I would recommend. You'll notice 2 Wolfgang Fists in my sideboard. This is really good against half the format. The problem is it's only half the format. So I don't want to have it against every single deck, but I do frequently bring it in, and I usually actually take out King Piccolo or the Bardoks. Bardock is a great when you're on the play, and he's quite bad when you're on the draw. So you'll see I have 2. I don't know how I feel about it. I do and sometimes go up to 3, like if I'm playing against a Brawly Mirror. I'll definitely bring him in to just get them down to low life very quickly to try to, force them to not have resources. One of the other cards I tried this weekend, just as like I'm going to try it, was the card I cut for my 6-drop was in fact Mercenary Tau. This was amazing. I am probably going to up this in my future lists to 2, maybe 3. The hard question is whether or not I keep Bardock. If I run Bardock and put him at 3, I could definitely see running 3 copies of this. But if I only run 2, I will probably switch my Bardock Awaken to the critical rare, I can't think of the name, Man on a Mission, I think, just to even get more critical. There were several games, though, where I was like, okay, play Mercenary Tau for free, hit them to 5 life. They'd be like, that's fine, I'm not worried about it. Ult Piccolo, bring out Pan, bring out Son Goku, and at that point I knew I had won the game. Because they had such few cards in their hand already, and Mercenary Tau was that extra piece of damage that made it where it was automatic that I would win. That's the biggest thing right now, is just have 1 copy of Rampaging Son Goku, have 1 copy of Pan. If you're not familiar with this combo off of Piccolo, this is what you hit. Your Son Goku becomes a 20k, double strike, critical, very good. You get to swing with it. You combo, hopefully a super combo. If they defend, that's fine. If they don't, hey, it's critical. That's good. Then you kill as its burst effect to untap him, and we go ahead and just KO any of our Brawlies to be able to play another Brawly for free by discarding a card from our hand, and the value just skyrockets from there. Some of the other sideboard cards to talk about, I tried After Image, terrible card right now. I don't know why I have it in the deck. I like Overwhelm, and it defeats the entire purpose if you're going to run Overwhelm in the sideboard. So if this gets cut, probably for that Violent Ray I said I was taking out. So then I'd have 2 Violent Rays in the sideboard, and then Flight of the Grand Earth Eagle. The cool part about this card is, against Dark Brawly, this will also do the same thing as Violent Rays for 1 attack, but it'll be free. Free is the name of the game for me right now, and I feel like the way of Dragon Ball in general. Other stuff to consider is Yamcha, Merciless Barrage. I could see this being a 3 or a 4. I believe this card is still only $10, and I think this would be one of the few cards I'd recommend buying out right now, especially the SPRs, because they're pretty awesome. But this is a much better counterplay than I originally thought it was. I was very disappointed in it. But the fact that you can play it in counter window 2 and neg a lot of cards is going to be very relevant in a mecha format. On your turn 2, you're going to still try to play a Piccolo Jr. You're still going to try to get in some damage. They're largely going to stop you. You're not going to be able to kill mecha. Then when they activate their, if they choose to awaken and they play for free that card to let them draw to, just go ahead and neg it. Or neg 2 of them if they have 2 in their hand. It really resets the value, and it's a card that will let you be able to attack even more aggression. So it's a great sideboard card. I could see running it main. You would not be a crazy person to do it, but maybe a 5th Unison, throw in a Kale if you're going to do it. You see here Dark Banisher Fu. This is for if you're on the play versus Dark Brawly. You can go a lot slower with Violent Rays, and you'll get there, and you'll eventually hopefully draw the Fu. And of course we have a Fu Shrouded in Mystery, just a one of, so in case we play against the annoying Sin Shenron decks. I respect them, I hate them, but I respect them because this deck obviously can't swap as quickly due to the 9-drop. And that's pretty much it. You see I tried to Black Mass Saiyan, it stayed in my board the whole time. I brought in Brawly Crown of Retribution a few times, like I mentioned. And of course, my King's Piccolo is a very good card. No matter who you're playing and whatever deck you are, you should have 4 to 2, depending on what you have available, of this in your sideboard for the Silver Bullet. It's that good. It draws a card. It's never a bad play for energy. And I played against, I think, 2 baby decks or 1. I can't remember which it was, but I know for sure one of them I got to go turn 1, drop my, and at that point my opponent just sat there like, and you could tell he was defeated. He was a really nice guy about it, but this is a very hard card for anyone to deal with in blue, which is nice. When you combo that with a Brawly Crown of Retribution, you can very easily win games, and that's how I had beat the player. Was I played they had no responses. Then I played the 1-drop Brawly. The 1-drop Brawly made him force to tap all of his energy, so he didn't see my hand. But that meant all of my attacks were going to get through. The last thing to talk about is this Piccolo. I still can't believe it's only at $25. I won so many games with this card. It's free. It is just free. It's a 20K. It is a 20K that can't be blocked free card. I have considered doing buyouts at it at $30 because I am that big of a fan of red. My only concern is probably the same concern everyone else has, that someday within the next few months, they'll be like, hey, here's a King Piccolo gold version or a King Piccolo whatever. We knew this card would be popular, and then here I am sitting with like $3,000 in King Piccolos, and I'd feel stupid. So that's why I haven't done it, just because of the nature of this game. But this card is that good. And that's kind of it. I don't think there's anything special about my list overall. It's just my play style. I play it very aggressive. You can take your time and try to win on 3. That's what a good player does. But in my case, I really would just go for those turn 2 kills. Or I try to get my opponent so far down in life on turn 2, and me hopefully sitting at like 3 life with a Ba in play or 2 Bas in play, that there's no way for them to come back. Because of all the Brawly effects where I'm removing cards from their hand, they probably have a very small hand, and I have a good 9-10 card hand. Because when you're playing aggressive, you don't start comboing until you're getting towards the kill zone. So when they're at 4 life, we don't combo. We're just 20Ks, we're 25Ks. You let them combo out of it, and if they choose not to, well then now, yeah, we go ahead and go in. You'll notice the lack of a Champa. I think that was a mistake. I got to find room for 1 Champa. It's a problem with the Brawly deck. You want to run every card, and you can't. So that was one of the benefits of running Bardock, was then you can like filter cards away. But there were several times when my opponent would be like, sure, your leader doesn't have double strike, let me just swing with that. And I'd have 1 energy open, and I'd have a boatload of cards in my hand. And I was just like, man, if I ran a singleton Champa, it would make people a little bit more afraid of this deck. So in the future, I would recommend you find room for it. It's always hard because, like I said, the only thing I don't always like is Bardock the Resolute. And I feel like that is definitely a situational card. So I can see cutting this to 2, add a Champa, go up a Mercenary Tau, and then switching out this Overwhelm. Enjoy yourselves. And like I said, I don't know if this deck is dead finally or if we're going to keep it going. Mecha format is, it is a scary format. The good news is, like I said, Flight of the Grand Eagle does help against that deck because you have a free counter when it's relevant, and you can use it on your Brawlies just that way, because I have servant skills. You're not worried about them anyway. If they attack them, hey, more free characters for you after they're nagged. I'll see you guys at PPG this weekend. I'll be representing as always. It'll be fun. And if you need anything, hit me up. Later.